Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of the Keswick Ripple podcast. My name is Jim Lang. I'm the Director of Guest Services here at America's Keswick, and each week we want to bring you a testimony that we hope encourages your heart and life. One of the most dynamic parts of our ministry is that when a man or woman comes to one of our programs, God radically changes their life through the gospel of Jesus Christ and then sends them out into their communities, their families, their churches, and uses them in a mighty way. And so today I wanted to introduce you to John, and John is a graduate of the Colony of Mercy, and really a fun fact about John is that I met John on my first day in the colony. So on May 2nd, 2013, John was one of the first guys I saw. He actually was the disciple on duty and did my intake, and so I'm thankful for him, and just that I got to know him over the couple days we were together, and he graduated that Sunday, and I did not want to be here, and God used John just to kind of calm my heart and let me know that this was a good place. And so I'm very appreciative to him, and it's just been awesome to watch you since then and just kind of watch how God's been using you. So why don't you start off by telling everyone kind of what your life looked like. You came through the colony twice.
Correct, yep.
And it was a number of years apart, so it was 10 years apart. So why don't you tell everyone kind of what life was like before you came the first time?
Yeah,
what led you here?
Yeah, so the first time when I entered the colony, I was 20 years old. I actually turned 21 entering 20 years old. At that point in my life, I had used alcohol and drugs since I was about 13. And in high school, my senior year, I started using heroin. And I was a full-blown, had a full-blown addiction at that time. And when I came here, it was kind of due to circumstances where I really didn't have a choice. So this was one of the options, but I did enter in America's Keswick at 20 years old. So, yeah.
And what circumstances then? So 10 years passed by. What circumstances brought you back?
So the first time I stayed here for the 4 months, then the 3 months. Afterwards, I was clean for about 3 years. I went to Word of Life. I was doing good, and the circumstances that brought me back the second time was that I drifted away from the Lord, and like you said, it was about 10 years of just walking away from God, and I found myself again at a point where I needed help in a desperate way, and the only option that I had was to come here. So I really didn't have any other options.
Okay. And so what was the differences between your first day here and your second go around?
Yeah, so the first time, I look back now and I reflect upon that. I think the first time I wanted Jesus for the fish and the bread. Like he was out, he was performing miracles. I wanted him for the fish and the bread, something that he could give me. I wanted to be free from my drug addiction so I can then go do what I wanted to do. The second time when I came back, I went down the roads that I thought would make me happy over that span of 10 years, that gap in between the first and the second time. And I think when I came back the second time, I'm like, all right, I tried everything else, Jesus. How about just you? And I look back and I think that was the difference. Where, the second time, that's all I had was Jesus, but that's what I needed. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's something that God taught you while you were here that kind of has stuck with you even to this day?
Okay, so yeah, some of my biggest takeaways from being here at Keswick was the relationship aspect of my walk with Christ. When I came back the second time, I would get up early, I would spend time with the guys in the colony, we'd do a morning Bible study, but I started to see the strength that gave me in my daily walk here at the colony. Now that was kind of like a test or a controlled environment, but I seen victory here as I spent daily time with the Lord. So I took that out beyond, after I graduated, and that's something that, was a big takeaway that I see, is to spend time with the Lord, and then also to give what God has given freely to me. So,
I think one of the biggest challenges is just what you said. You have, when you're in the colony, you have all this fellowship, you have all this brotherhood, you have all this camaraderie, and then you kind of graduate and you leave, and it's tough to replicate. And so you graduate, and what were some of the challenges you faced as you tried to live this new life?
Yeah, when I graduated, some of the challenges was trusting in God. Here they call it like the bubble, and now I'm going outside, and I've done this before, and I failed before, and honestly, I had fear, but I had to trust God, and throughout that way, throughout that path, I just, all right, God, here's where I'm at, but I'm going to trust you this time and see how it works out. And it has been good, and He provided from day one. Didn't have a job. When I graduated, I went to Pennsylvania. Wasn't from Pennsylvania. I didn't want to go to Pennsylvania. But I had a job. I paid my rent by Friday. I mean, it's just, yeah. So trusting in Him and walking by faith, yeah.
I think one of the cool things is that John graduated. We see him often though. You come to the culinary reunions that we have. You come to, this is Labor Day weekend. We're filming this, and he's here with his family, and I get to watch a little of your life via Facebook and just to see what God's doing in your life. What are some of the ways God's blessed you since you've left the colony?
Yeah, so some ways that God blessed me, just to name a few. So I left here, I didn't have my license. I had, open cases. Like I said, no place to go. God provided all that. I met my wife shortly thereafter. I was serving the Lord. I met my wife. 9 months later, we got married. A year later, we had my first son. 2 years later, my daughter. And now we just had a newborn baby, another daughter 7 months ago. When I went to Word of Life, after the first time I was able to pay off, I had a little bit of financial debt there. I paid that off. Once I paid that off, I was able to continue my education and go to Lancaster Bible College. I graduated there last year. Plus I have a job that I can provide for my family. So all my needs are met above and beyond. So yeah, that's just to name a few.
That's awesome. And so God, again, like I said in the beginning, God completely radically changed your life through the gospel of Jesus Christ. So what are some of the ways He's using you to minister to others?
Yeah, so I'm involved in my local church. Right now I just started doing Sunday school between I think it's 4th to 6th grade. So, but above and beyond that, I have more opportunities now I love sharing the word, so I have more opportunities to share the word, whether it's preaching. But one of the things that, just like the heartbeat of America's Keswick, is the passion for men and women who struggle with addiction. Once you walk that path, I can't but reach my hand out to those that are struggling around me. You may not interact with the people I interact with, and vice versa, but if I see somebody that's struggling, I want to run to them and tell them there is hope. So.
And speaking of that, there's probably someone who's watching this video who's struggling. What would you say to them today?
Yeah, so that there is hope, and don't give up. God will never give up on you. He didn't give up on me. He's not going to give up on you, and just whatever that looks like in your life, run to Him, and that He is the answer, Jesus Christ. There is freedom and hope and life. So.
Thank you, John, for sharing a little bit of your story. We thank you for watching. If this has been an encouragement to you, we want you to like this on Facebook, share it so others can be encouraged as well. And we will see you next week. Have a great day.